Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Finally going to be showing you guys how I retouch my photos from this to this. If you're about this, then please don't go anywhere. I am finally bringing you a retouching video, okay? I've had several requests for my retouching process on this channel, and I felt like it was about that time because it was almost feeling like you guys were going to eat me up with the request. Just kidding. So yeah, this is a retouching video, and I'm going to be showing you my retouching processes for literally all my photos, okay? I've been using this process for about 3 to 6 years now. I've been using this for quite a long time now, and so far it has been working for me. You can check my Instagram out at reality photography on Instagram. I'm gonna leave that on the screen and see what my work looks like, and if you're about that, feel free to jump on this, okay? So yeah, this is the process for my retouching, like I said. And by the way, my name is Gloria Okata. I am a photographer in Nigeria, a beauty, lifestyle, and portrait photographer. On this channel, I share photography tips, my behind the scenes, and all of that. And I also share Christian lifestyle content, okay? So let's get right into it. All right, so this is a photo I shot last week, and I'm going to be showing you guys the behind the scenes. I'm going to be posting that next week. I always post photography content on Thursdays on my channel, so I'm going to be sharing that next week. But for now, I'm just going to show you how I'm going to retouch this image. I haven't even retouched it yet. Like, this is me just retouching it with you guys, okay? So the first thing I do normally is I do like a first touch up on Capture One. So I use Capture One to just do a little tweaking here and there, because this is what the raw image looks like. This is the raw image, and this is what I did on Capture One. So I basically just touched some of my settings, like the exposure, the contrast, reduced the highlights a little, added a bit of shadows, the blacks, I lightened it up a little, and clarity is at 5. And then I touched my levels here a little, my midtones, my shadows, and my highlights for the reds, the greens, and the blues. That's literally the only thing I did. And then on this panel, because I'm still going to retouch this photo, on the orange, I'm just gonna reduce it. Yeah, and then I'm going to export that on my Photoshop. I'm going to show you guys like a detailed video on how I do my Capture One process before I retouch on Photoshop, but that's just by the way. I'll do a detailed video for that one on another video, but for now I just want to focus on my retouching process, okay? So the first thing I do on my Photoshop is, once I export the image in, I duplicate my background layer, okay? So that's the background copy. So you just drag that down and then duplicate it right here where you have the box with a plus sign in it. And I use, for my retouching frequency separation, I use Retouching Academy, okay? So Retouching Academy is basically a smart Photoshop plugin that helps a lot of seasoned beauty professionals in this industry. Been my go-to retouching plugin for over 5 years now, and it has really made life easy for a lot of us. If you're in Nigeria, I'm sure you're very familiar with Retouching Academy plugin, but if you're not, you should check this out. This really works. It gets the job done, and it's quite straightforward, okay? It makes everything easy. Literally just have actions already in this plugin, so when you just click on it, it like gives you straight up like a platform to retouch your photos. So I feel like that is really, really good and helpful for us in this industry, okay? So yeah, so that's it. We use Retouching Academy. You can literally dodge and burn, frequency separation section here, luminosity masking section here, face and makeup and hair. So you literally just have actions for all these, quality control and all that. But to be very honest, I am always just limited to frequency separation and dodge and burn, okay? These are the two things here that I basically and mostly use in Retouching Academy, and it has been so helpful ever since I've been using it. All right, so yeah, for beauty shots, the first thing I do, like I said, I duplicate my background, and then the next thing I do, you're gonna have to take out all the distractions in these photos, okay? So you zoom in your picture, and then you select your healing brush tool, and then your spot healing brush tool, and then you take out all the distractions like the stray hairs and all of that, like all these smudges on the face. you zoom in properly so that you can see what you're doing. So you take out all of this, all the spots, all the hairs, and everything that would, seem as a distraction in your photo. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly do this before we get right into the next thing that I would normally do. So yeah, this is obviously a lace front hair. So the lining of the hair, I just use the brush tool to line it up. Okay, so when you're doing this, you can always be checking by clicking your background copy layer to see what it looks like. Okay, so yeah, this is basically what my image looks like before and after. Yeah, so I'm just gonna take out all these distractions. I mean, our model has good skin. We don't have much pimples or acne and all that going on. So I guess this is just little work, okay? Soft work. But on the neck, I see a lot of stray hairs. I continue to use the, spot healing brush tool to just do my thing. I'm done taking out the hair. Let's see what it looks like before and after. Before, after. Okay, so I literally just use my spot healing brush to do that. Okay, and if you are wondering, the setting of my spot healing brush is type, content aware, create texture, proximity match. Okay, because sometimes if you tweak these settings, you may not get a seamless result like mine looks. Okay, mine literally looks almost perfect, right? So you should check those settings as well. And then there are also stray hairs on the hair of our model, so I'm just going to take those out too, because you don't want a lot going on with the hair as well. So every hair that seems like a stray hair or giving too much distraction, you can go ahead and take that out with your same spot healing brush tool. Always make sure to zoom in so that you're more detailed with your selections. All right, so yeah, that's it. The stray hairs, the spots on her face, pimples, all the excesses that we don't need in this picture. And this is our before, and now this is the after. This is the after. Okay, so yeah, now we are going right into frequency separation. All right, so the first things first. Okay, so in the frequency separation section on my Retouching Academy plugin, you can see that we have via Gaussian blur right here. We have custom, we have via median, and we have digital texture. Okay, these are just literally like actions for your retouching, but it differs. Okay, their functions differ. So let me just explain how I know what to use for what. Okay, so for beauty shoots where I have like really close up headshots, skin work, skin shoots, and all of that, where I need like really good details, I use via Gaussian blur. Okay, but if I'm working on like full photos, like from head to toe kind of shots, full shots, family portraits, and all of that, I use custom, and I'll explain that on another video. But for now, I want us to focus on this for beauty shoots. Okay, so for beauty shoots, my go-to and the right one to use is via Gaussian blur. Okay, so you're just gonna click on that, and when you click on that, it just automatically gives you the entire layers, okay, for that. And so right now you're gonna have to choose what radius you want to use for your retouching. Okay, and for this particular shot, when I'm doing beauty shots, I either choose 4 or 3. Okay, but for these shoots, the secret about knowing what number to use is the higher the radius, the more texture you're gonna get. The lower the radius, you're gonna get a more fine texture. Okay, so if you are working on somebody who has very, very textured skin, don't go too high on your radius. Okay, but if you're working with someone who has fine skin, I mean, you can go a little high but not too high. The highest I've ever gone is 4. Okay, and as you can see, the model's skin is good. She doesn't have a textured skin, she doesn't have acne and all of that going on, so the safest radius to use is 4. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna click on 4 and then okay. So you can see right here that it has given us the entire layer. Okay, if you know other retouching actions, you know that these are already the kind of actions you use for retouching, the correcting tones, lower frequency, high frequency, and all that. But it has given you the layers automatically, and that is why I really like Retouching Academy, because it really helps us with all these things. We don't have to stress. As far as you have the plugin, you have the actions. Okay, so we have all our layers for retouching, and now we are going to go right into our retouching process. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to turn your high frequency texture off. Alright, some people prefer to retouch on this layer, but I retouch on my correcting tones. Okay, this is the layer I work on. It's a transparent layer. The reason why I work on this layer is because if I make any mistake in any area, I wouldn't have to like totally start from scratch. I can just easily make adjustments to a particular area on the client's face or the model's face or skin, and just continue my work without having to like start from the scratch. Okay, this is easily manageable, easily adjustable. Okay, that's why I work on my correcting tones. Okay, and then you turn this off. So when you turn this off, you're going to notice that your picture becomes blurred. So this is what the zoom picture looks like. Okay, and then you turn it off. So when you turn it off, you're working on the blur image. Okay, so then we use the brush mixer brush tool to retouch. Okay, we use it for frequency separation. Okay, on the brush tool, you pick your mixer brush tool, and that's what we're going to use. I use my Wacom tab to work to do my retouching. If you have a mouse, fine, but I think the Wacom tab really does a good job. I'm gonna like put a description of the type that I use on the description box below. You guys can check it out and use it for your retouching process. I feel like it makes the job so easy. All right, moving forward. So after you select your mixer brush tool, make sure you come to this layers. Okay, now let's make sure our settings are all right before we move forward. Okay, first things first, this must be a transparent layer. Okay, this right here must be a transparent layer. If it's anything that is not this, then we have a problem. Make sure this is a transparent layer. Make sure this brush here is ticked with the the line across it this way. Make sure your setting is at custom. There are other options here, but make sure your setting is at custom. And this is my brush settings. Okay, so basically what these are is how wet you want your brush. This is your brush right here. How wet do you want this to be? Imagine you are a painter, okay, and now you're trying to load your brush. How wet do you want the brush to be? That's my setting over there. So my brush is, the wetness of my brush is 15, the load is 10. How much paint do you want on your brush if you were a painter? Okay, that's what load is. Load is 10%. Mine, I don't want much, so 10%. Okay, and mix. What is the mix like? Is it wet? Is it too wet? Is it thick? Is it in between wet and thick and all of that? That's how I like to understand it and explain it, and it works for me. So I feel like 15 is perfect. And your flow, when you're brushing, how do you want your flow to be? How do you want the effect of your brush strokes to feel on your model's skin? Mine is 10% because over here we don't do too much. Okay, so my wet is 15%, low 10%, mix 15%, and flow 10%. All right, and you make sure this smoothness right here is at 10%. I don't like too much. I told you guys that already. Okay, and make sure you sample all your layers. If your layer is off, there will be a problem. Sample all your layers. Okay, so now can we get to the business of the day? All right, thank you. So now we are getting right into it. Okay, so you make sure you zoom the model's face real up close and personal. Okay, and now I want you guys to understand something about the facial structure as well. Okay, over here, the way light hits the face is the way you have to focus on your brushing on your subject. Okay, so over here is the forehead. Light is likely to hit the forehead, the T-zones. Okay, this is the T-zone here, right here, here, and over here, and also these, right? It's called the T-zone because it's like a T, like this and like that. Okay, so it's a T. These are the T-zones where light hits the forehead, the nose, the bridge, the nose bridge right here, the I've forgotten what this is called, but over here, and then the chin, and then the cheekbones. Okay, that's where light typically hits, and then also the collarbone right here, and even her chest. Okay, so you're going to know that where the light is hitting is where the highlights are, and where the light is not hitting is where the shadows are. So these are the shadows right here. You see that they're a bit darker. Shadows are happening right here, shadows here at the corners, shadow here, here, but the outer areas like the forehead, the nose bridge, the cheekbones, and all here, that's where light is hitting. Okay, you see here is darker, that's the shadows. So when you're brushing, what do you have to know? You have to know that you don't need to brush your highlights into your shadows and your shadows into your highlights. Try to brush separately. Okay, frequency separation, separate the action. Okay, so that is what you need to know. And so now I want to begin my frequency separation, okay? And you do that with brushing, all right? So this is my brush tool, my mixer brush tool. I've mixed my whole paint. Everything is looking great. Now I'm just going to go ahead and brush, all right? So now this is the highlight, like I said. And when you're doing your frequency separation, make sure you are increasing and decreasing depending on the areas in which you are brushing, okay? Decrease your brush or increase your brush depending. So I feel like this is good. So how do you brush? You brush by tap, drag, tap, drag, tap, drag, okay? Not smudge. No, you don't do this and that, just smudge it. No, you don't do that, okay? So let me just quickly erase what I just did by clicking my eraser tool to erase that action I just took right now, okay? So like I was saying, you tap and you drag, okay? So you're gonna be doing like tap, 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 drag, tap, drag, tap, drag, tap, drag, okay? So you tap and you drag, you don't smudge like drag, drag, drag all over the place, okay? You tap, drag, lift up your brush, tap again, drag, lift up your brush, tap again, drag, lift up your brush, okay? It's just imagine yourself painting a wall. You don't just take the brush and you're just going blah, 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 blah on the wall. You tap and you drag, you tap and you drag, okay? Let me just clean that so we don't mess this up, okay? So yeah, so that's basically what I'm going to be doing, and this is the highlight. So you're just tapping and dragging. Tap, 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 tap. We don't smudge, we tap and drag, okay? Tap and drag, tap and drag, tap and drag. Now to the corners, just go to the side as I go to the corners. Tap, drag, tap, drag. Remember I told you tap, drag. As I'm coming out, I increase my brush, okay? So you notice that when you're doing this, you're kind of like also covering up certain areas, okay? So like the edges of the hair, that the lining are kind of obvious. When you're brushing over them, you're kind of correcting that line, right? So yeah, that's what you also do on your correcting tone. So I'm just kind of correcting those lines and smoothing out the area. And I'm also making sure not to brush the shadows into the highlights here, okay? So it's separation, okay? You separate, you don't drag that into it, okay? So I'm done with my forehead area. I'm just gonna go to the nose bridge and then just work on that area where the highlights are. And now move to the corners. And also you just act like you're doing the makeup, okay? You're gonna follow lines, all right? So as I'm brushing, I'm not just brushing. This obviously looks vertical. You don't have to brush this horizontally, okay? So follow the lines as well as you do the brushing, all right? So I'm just going to follow lines. Now that's the shadow, right? And now these are highlight. Don't brush this into this and don't brush that into here, okay? So now you separate that. So I'm just going to brush here. Just keep doing the brushing. Remember, it's just strokes, okay? Tap and drag. Don't do like a smudge. You're not like doing like brushing the whole area, you know, like you're applying some kind of like you're trying to smudge something on someone's face, you know. So try to avoid that. I'm moving into the shadows, so I'm being very careful, and I'm also reducing my brush as I go. Try not to brush the highlights into the shadows, okay? And now I'm gonna come here and I'm going to make sure to reduce my brush and then work on the corners. So what I'm trying to do right now is to do the work on half of the face, and so we can compare it to the other side of her face, okay? So these corners, reduce your brush and then just do like a smoothing around that area like this, and then go to the corners, avoiding the lips. I retouch lips sometimes, but in this case I'm just going to hold on with that, and just those are the shadows, as you can see. Now I'm in the highlights. I'm just trying to fix up that area, okay? There's a little bit of shadows under the lip, which is okay. Remember, we're working on a very blurry image right now, but you can still see what you're doing regardless of the fact that it's blurry. Okay, so yeah, so for the shadows, just make sure that you do not brush that into the highlights. Okay, you brush the highlight area separately from the shadows, and then for the eyeshadow area, just go really thin on your brush setting and then just do like a little brushing over it. Make sure not to mix up the colors. Brush the highlight separately from where the colors transition and to the corners, and don't just mix up the colors all over the place. So like I said earlier, I'm just trying to like work on half the face so that you see what it looks like. Okay, you see the difference, okay, from the retouched area to the unretouched area. Okay, so now can I just open this? I want to open my high frequency texture layer for you to see the difference. Okay, so yeah, so we open. All right, so you see obviously our retouched area obviously looks better. Okay, I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do this for you guys to see. Okay, see what this looks like and see what this looks like. Very, very different. Okay, so this is what this area looks like. I told you Retouching Academy is quite simple, straightforward. I don't even really do much, okay, and I get good results. Trust me, I know there are retouchers, pro retouchers out there who do like a lot when it comes to skin work, but honestly, this is just what I do and it works for me. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat the same thing I did here over to this side, the left side, and we move to the rest of the body. Okay, so let me just quickly do that. So I'm literally done with this area. If you notice under the eye, I didn't really do much. I just took my brush like gradually under that area, and that's just about it. Okay, so now before and after, baby. Let's see the before. This is the before of the entire face, and now this is the after. Okay, you see the process is super simple, straightforward. Retouching Academy really does a very sweet, smooth job for me, and I totally love it. Okay, so now let's just work on the skin and basically repeating the same process. So now what I normally like to do for this type of area is I drag here into that. Okay, just a little, not too much. Okay, so I just do like a little bit of drag just to balance out the colors. I don't do this all the time, but in this case, yes, I am doing that because I feel like the neck is just a little bit too dark, and that's just because of the shadows. So you just do that slightly. Okay, nothing crazy, nothing too much. All right, so yeah, that's just about it. And then you go over to the chest and just balance that out real nice. So here I kind of go like in circles because I mean just trying to make the color tone look even on the chest, because you can see there's a lot of shadows and highlights going on here. So you're just trying to make things around this area look even. Okay, so I'm just trying to balance out, like I said earlier. I'm not doing too much, just fixing up the areas because there's a lot of highlights and shadows going on here. So into the corners, just do a little bit of brushing that in nicely. And now I open my high frequency layer to see what this looks like. I think this looks great. So I'm just gonna do like a before and after. You see what that looked like? See, under the neck doesn't look as dark as it was earlier. And then the chest, you know, the dark area like here, just brighten that up just a little bit by brushing a little bit of the highlights into the shadows. So this looks pretty cute. Guys, tell me what you think about this in the comment section. I really want to know. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and brush the hands here. Nothing crazy, just brush over, just paint. Okay, Remember, you're like a painter right here, and you're just painting, okay? So just tap and drag, tap and drag, tap and drag. So you keep doing that, like tap, drag, tap, drag, tap, drag, tap, drag throughout your photos, okay? Now that's about that. Oh my goodness, I really love this. You guys tell me what you think in the comment section, because this looks good. Okay, so I just grouped my frequency separation layer back together, so I can just do like a quick check. Oh, this is nice. This is really nice. That is basically my retouching process. Okay, so I quickly retouched the hair as well. So if you look at the before and the after, you see that I touched the hair. I'm going to show you guys how to retouch hair on a separate video. If you want to see how I retouch hair, comment in the comment section hair. Okay, just comment hair in the comment section so that I would do a video for retouching hair and post. Okay, and then after that, I just quickly color grade it. Now this is what my color grade looks like on the image. Okay, this is without color grade and this is with color grade. So to color grade this image, after retouching, because I'm done retouching this image right now, I'm done with frequency separation. So to color grade this image, I have a lot that I normally use. I actually bought this lot, and so it works for me, but I could even do a color grade without the lot, but I'm just gonna add this lot. Okay, so in the color lookup section, that's where the lot is at, and I just put the lot in. Okay, so like I said, I bought this lot and I use this lot. Okay, so I reduced the opacity of the lot to 30%. Okay, so my go-to, even if I wasn't using the lot, is this is what it looks like. This is the before and this is the after. The difference is not so much, but it just adds a little more contrast to the photo. So if you notice, the hair gets darker when I added the lot with a more defined skin tone. Okay, so then I use basically selective color and color balance. Okay, these are very, very easy color grading techniques I'm about to use and show you guys, because I am always, for the regular stuff, try to do good work with regular stuff. Okay, so I use selective tool. A lot of people underrate selective tool, but I think selective tool is a very great tool for color grading photos. Okay, so yeah, that's it right there, selective color actually. So what I first do with this is you just go to the left or to the right and check what works. Okay, this is not a detailed color grading video, so I don't want to waste so much time on that, but mostly what you're going to do is understanding colors, right? If you truly understand colors, you basically just check how these things make your images look. Okay, and then you apply. So you're either going to take the cyans from the reds forward or backward. How selective color normally works is you select the reds in the photo and make your adjustment, the yellows in your photo, make your adjustment, the greens and all that. So I'm gonna just be using red, neutrals and blacks. Okay, so I always start with red. Okay, so mostly our skin has some sort of red undertone somehow, so I start with red. Okay, so if you take the red forward in the cyan, this is what your picture is gonna look like. I don't really like what it looks like, so I always go back negative. Okay, so I'm just gonna go negative 14 on this. Okay, I think it looks great. All right, and then for the magenta, if you go forward, it's gonna give you more of magenta. If you go negative, it's gonna give you less of it. So I'm just gonna go back to like negative 10, and I think that looks great. Okay, and then for the yellows, if you go forward with the yellow, you're gonna add more yellow, and if you go back, you're gonna add, kind of like pink. Okay, so I don't want to add more yellow into this picture because I already got yellow from my lot. So yeah, negative 4 is fine. And then for the blacks, if you go into the blacks, it makes your skin darker, and if you go, it makes it lighter. So I'm going to add a little bit of the blacks plus 8. I think is perfect. That's it. That's just it. And then I go to neutrals. Neutrals is basically all the neutral colors in the photo. Okay, so it's like a general touch on every color in the photo. Okay, so if you go cyan plus cyan, this is what you're going to be getting. If you go negative, this is what you're going to be getting. So because you understand how these things work, I think plus 3 looks great. For the magenta, I don't think I want to touch anything in the magenta, so I just leave it at 0. Okay, I don't always touch all the colors. All right, sometimes I can be very minimal or not even touch it at all. So yeah, for the yellows, I'm just going to add like a drop of yellow. So just plus 1. Okay, and for the blacks, if you go negative, you're taking out the blacks, and if you go, you're adding more blacks. So I'm just going to add plus 1. And now for the blacks, like I said, I only do red, neutrals, and blacks literally for all my photos. Okay, so for the blacks, if you go negative on the cyan, it just gives you this very nice tone. I'm not going to do too much of that. I think I like it, but I'm just going to be minimal on that. So -5 is okay. And then for the magenta, I'm just going to add a little magenta to the blacks, basically focusing on the blacks. I'm going negative on the yellow, so -3. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of the black +1. And I think this is great, okay? So I'm done with selective color. That's basically how I color grade my photos, all right? And now I go to color balance, okay? So color balance, you're basically adding these same colors in your selective color palette to your midtones, your shadows, and your highlights, okay? So starting from the midtones, like I said, these you just tweak and see what works for you, all right? So for the midtones, you're either going to add more reds or cyan. This is more understandable. So if you're going here, it's showing you what you're adding red. If you're going back, you're adding cyan. Going back here, magenta. Going forward here is greens, okay? So I'm just going to add a little bit of red. +1 is okay. -1 on the magenta is fine. And +2 on the blues is okay, all right? So now to move to the shadows. For here, I don't think I want to touch anything here. For the greens, just 1 +1. And for the blues, +2, okay? I think that's fine for me. And now for the highlights, so you're just going to be adding either of the colors to the highlights in the photos. So I'm just going to stick to -2 highlights, okay? So -2 here, +1, and +3. So that's basically what I do with my color balance. So this is the before and after. So this is the plain image, okay, with just the touch up I did in Capture One. And this is what adding color lookup looks like. Selective color and color balance, okay? I think this looks great now. So you're just gonna click on Shift and then highlight everything and then group this to color grade. That's about it, okay? So if I turn everything off, this is what we started with. This is the background copy. And then we did our retouching. And then we did our color grade, okay? So this is pretty much how I do my retouching process for beauty shoots. I basically do the same thing all the time. I use my frequency separation in Retouching Academy, and then I do my color grade with color lookup, selective color, and color balance. And it always works for me, and of course, this is what the result looks like. I think it's pretty cool. So if you want to see how I retouch hair, because I did retouch this hair, let me just type hair in the comment section and I'll give you guys a hair retouching video, okay? And also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you found this really helpful, let me also know in the comment section. Also, if there's any other thing you guys want to see, let me know. I'll be so happy to share. If I have any other processes of any other thing, or maybe dark skin retouching and color grade, I'll definitely share on this channel, okay? So this is the basics for now. More detailed videos are gonna come up in the near future. But if you like this, please let me know. Just give this a thumbs up. If you found this helpful as well, please let me know. Subscribe to this channel, and yeah, click on the bell button so you can be notified when I post a new video. And I'll definitely see you guys on my next video. Thanks so much for watching up until this point. Next week, I'm going to be sharing the behind the scenes of how I shot this. I used really low budget material to shoot this, and it turned out so good. So I'm going to be sharing that next week, Thursday. Please stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.